welcome to a new episode of Football and F1 Show. As today I'm gonna talk about the Super Cup and yesterday's opening day of the Premier League season game, and also I'm gonna preview today's Premier League games. Before I talk about it, I've done a couple of videos. Obviously, I sent the video that I recorded on Wednesday very late, and the reason is because I had a problem with my laptop. The problem was in the battery of the laptop and also in the battery. To make the laptop charge faster, charge quicker, charge great as well. So I had problems with that, and for me it was made it difficult for me to send the video that I want, on Wednesday, because I recorded the video on Wednesday and I wanted to send it out on Wednesday, but it was difficult and I had to wait for a couple of days so the laptop can work perfectly again. So I'm really sorry for that. I apologize for it, and hopefully, I hope so, it will not happen again. But I'm gonna go through quite quickly as much as I can, because obviously it's been a difficult couple of days, for me. Not me personally, but trying to, in terms of wanting to do content, it's not been easy. But let's start with Wednesday's game, which was the Super Cup, as Paris Saint-Germain beat Tottenham on penalties, and it was a great game actually. Tottenham played really well for, I'll say, 80 minutes, and they were much better than PSG. And you could see PSG struggled. Before the game, I heard from some PSG fans that they didn't have a proper preseason. They only trained together for 6 days, and I thought to myself, they might struggle here. Okay. But they did struggle for 80 minutes. They struggled. Mickey van der Ven, Christian Meno, who is now the captain for Tottenham Hotspur, scored 2 goals, and Tottenham were very good. They're looking very good, and they played they were looking really good, and they played really well. And Thomas Frank got the tactics spot on. But then after 80 minutes, the real Tottenham came out. But you still have to give credit to PSG, because PSG pulled off a great comeback considering how poor they were most of the game. And Luis Enrique is right. They didn't deserve to win that match. They didn't deserve to win the Super Cup, because Tottenham were the better team. Tottenham, they earned the win. They played well. They were much better than PSG. PSG only woke up in the last 10 minutes of the game. Sorry. But credit to PSG. They showed great character, great desire, good comeback. Goals from Lee Kang-jin and Gonzalo Ramos in the last minute. And Luis Enrique had to take risks as well. He had to make substitutions. He brought in Lee Kang-jin and he brought in Gonzalo Ramos, who scored the goals. So, as much as you maybe want to criticize PSG for the performance, you have to say they showed a great character. They pulled off a great comeback, and Luis Enrique pulled off 2 great substitutions, which helped PSG equalize and make it to penalties. And because PSG for most of the game they were very poor. But you also have to give credit to Tottenham, because they played really well. They showed that they can compete with anybody, let alone the best team in the world and at the moment, and the best team in Europe right now. They showed that they can compete, they can fight. Because let's be honest, they won the Europa League, but the quality of the teams that play. Let's be honest. No disrespect to those teams, but they played against Bodo Glimt in the semi-final. They played against probably the worst Manchester United side I've ever seen in the final. So I thought, how are they going to compete against this PSG side? And yes, PSG didn't have a proper pre-season, but still, Tottenham showed they can compete. And Tottenham, I have to say, Tottenham used a similar tactic to Chelsea did when they beat PSG in the Club World Cup final. And they executed quite well, and nearly executed to the win. And Tottenham were winning on penalties as well. They were winning 2-0, I think, on penalties, and they still lost on penalties. I mean, it's very Tottenham, isn't it? They were winning on penalties and they lost, and they were winning on in regular time and they still couldn't get the win. I mean, it's very Tottenham, but still, I think Tottenham fans and players and Thomas Frank would have been pleased with the way they performed, because they showed they can compete, they can fight. Because you never know with the new manager. They made some good signings. They didn't have a spectacular transfer window, but they made some good signings like Kudus, Palina. I thought Palina had a very good guy, by the way. So, but Tottenham showed that they can compete and they can fight. But well done to PSG for winning another trophy, and a great comeback they showed, and they managed to win on penalties at the end, and they win the UEFA Super Cup. Yesterday's Premier League game, the opening day of the season, Liverpool beat Bournemouth 4-2. Oh, what a cracking game that was. What a cracking game. For couple of reasons. One, obviously for good reasons and for bad reasons. For good reasons, because it was a spectacular football match, fantastic match. It was an emotional game as well for Liverpool players and fans and coach Arne Slot, coaches, because I should also include the assistant manager. Because obviously Diego Jota, the passing of Diego Jota, and before the game, Liverpool fans were making a banner for kind of we're making Diego Jota number 20 and Andre Silva number 30, paying a lovely tribute and a minute silence, and it was you can clearly see it was quite emotional match for Liverpool, and you can feel the atmosphere was fantastic. It was fantastic, and it was emotional at the same time. Liverpool in the first half, they started the game quite well. They were winning 1-0. Goal from Ekitike. Oh, again, I thought he had a brilliant game once again. He had a very good game against Crystal Palace in Community Shield, scoring, and this game he also scored as well. I thought Wirtz. People say Wirtz had a terrible game. I don't think he had a terrible game. He was not that great, but I don't think he was that bad. I just think playing your first game in the Premier League, sometimes you need time. You can't expect teams. You can't expect all the players coming from different leagues to straight away step up. Yeah, Kiteke has shown he can do that. Scoring, assisting, and he scored in the Community Shield. But you have to take your time. Like you can't scoring goals in your first games doesn't mean you're gonna do well. Like Nunes scored. I remember Darwin Nunes scored against Manchester City in the Community Shield, and he scored a goal and assist against Fulham in the first game of the Premier League season. And after that, he had a difficult career at Liverpool. So you can start as much as you want, but it's about how you end. It's about how you go about it after that. So I don't think Liverpool fans should be worried about Wirtz. This is only the first game. I don't think he had a terrible game. It was not a good game from him, but I don't think he had a terrible game. I think it was okay. I would say it was okay. So yeah, and Liverpool, like, they did well in the first half. They were winning 1-0. Even though I would say Bournemouth had some chances on the breaks, on a counter attack. And the second half, Liverpool scored a second goal. Brilliant finish from Cody Gakpo. And Liverpool winning 2-0. And you think, like, okay, everything's lovely, everything's amazing, But then the problems showed again defensively, as it showed against Crystal Palace. That defensively they were poor. Defensively they got complacent. And they conceded a lot of chances, and you can see that the defending for the two goals from Simeone, by the way, who faced a racist abuse from a Liverpool fan who was sitting in a wheelchair, and you see the clip. If you see the clip, it's really worse. He was throwing hands, and you can tell that he was really saying some nasty stuff towards Semenyo. But Semenyo showed great character, showed great fight, and he showed that. Yes, the way he suffered that racist abuse, which is unacceptable. I mean, by the way, racism is still there in 2025. The season just started, and the racism is still there. Like, what is this? Racism is still there in 2025. Like, come on, what is this? I really don't understand. It's unacceptable. So, and thankfully, that fan who should be banned for life, he was moved from the stadium, and rightly so. Enough is enough. But Semenyo, he showed that he had a great mental strength, scoring 2 goals, 2 great finishes. By the second goal, by the way, I would say the defending from Van Dijk towards that second goal. I mean, what was he? He was trying to do a social distance or something, because that was a poor defending from him. Poor defending from Konate as well. I mean, Liverpool going forward, they were doing well. Going forward, they were fantastic, but defensively, again, they showed vulnerability once again. They looked vulnerable. And what I would say is that it started from Arne Slot's substitutions, because he subbed off Frimpong, he subbed off Kirkus, who were doing a brilliant game. He subbed off Ekitike, he subbed off McAllister, who I thought was one of Liverpool's best players in this game, McAllister. And he should have subbed off Szoboszlai because I thought he had a poor game. He had made some missed passes, and he was clearly tired. But he subbed off McAllister, who was brilliant, and kept on Szoboszlai, who had a poor game. So I think Slot made a couple of mistakes. He brought Robertson, he brought in Endo in fullback position. So I think he made mistakes. Yes, towards the end, he made that brilliant substitution to bring on Chiesa and scored, and I'll talk about that. But he was the reason why Liverpool put themselves in that position. One of the big reasons is slot substitutions, like poor substitutions, and you still have to give credit to Bournemouth because they kept going, they kept fighting, they never gave up. They scored 2 goals, 2 great finishes from Simeone. And Bournemouth, obviously, let's not forget they've sold a lot of their key players. So they've lots of they've sold so many their top players, the big players, their key players to Hudson to Real Madrid, Kepa to Arsenal, etc. But they play really well. They show great character. And they show they can play. They can play football as well. They're a very good team to watch. Bournemouth. They're going forward. They're fantastic. But and they expose defensively the problems of Liverpool defensively. And defensively, Liverpool need to rectify that because, they need that signing of Mark Gui. Yes, listen, even if they sign Isak, they're still gonna, even if they don't sign Isak, they're still gonna be great to watch going forward. But defensively, they need to sign a defender. They signed Leone, the Italian defender, but he's very young. So I think they need one more. I think they need Mark Gui, and that would be a great signing. If they get Mark Gui, I think defensively they should be much better. Going forward, even without Isak, they're still very good. I think the main problem is that they need to sign a defender. So like I said, I still they need listen. It doesn't mean that they don't need Isak. They still need them because let's say if there is an injury for Ekiteke, if there is an injury for Gakpo, etc., then Isak could step in and could score goals or whatever, or when Salah doesn't step up, etc. They need that squad depth in attack, but defensively it's a bigger issue because they conceded. It's not happened this game. It's also happened the Crystal Palace game where they were conceding chances after chances. Particularly second half, they got torn apart by Crystal Palace. And Slot was mentioning in the press conference after the game with Crystal Palace that we're conceding more goals. He said that we're not conceding more chances, we conceded more goals, and I couldn't agree more. So it's up to him and also to the coaching staff and to the players to fix it. And they need to sign McGui, the defender. They need to sign. Otherwise, if they don't sign McGui, the defensive problems of Liverpool will continue. And if you want to win the Premier League, which Liverpool I'm pretty sure would like to win. Obviously, they won the Premier League last season, and I'm pretty sure a lot of Liverpool fans would like to retain the title. If Liverpool want to retain the title, not only they have to be great going forward, they also have to be great defensively. There's a famous quote by Sir Alex Ferguson where he says, "Attack wins games, defense wins titles." And Liverpool last season, let's not forget, defensively they were better. They were very good. They were organised. I would say in the first half of the season, they were very good. They were defensively more organised, right? They were more calm, okay? But they conceded more goals this season. They've been like torn to pieces defensively, particularly in this game. And I think Van Dijk also defending as well has to be questioned because you see that second goal that you could, not only him, also Kanate. The defending was very, very poor, and the way Liverpool in the second half, the way Liverpool conceded chances by leaving so much spaces, throwing everybody in attack, they got really exposed. So I think they need to rectify that. But then, despite that, even if Liverpool don't make their life easier, they still managed to come back and score 2 more goals to win the game. Chiesa with the winner, great finish. He finally arrived. What a way to score your first ever Premier League goal. So for sure that will give him confidence. And the 4th goal for Mohamed Salah. I mean, he didn't have his best game, but that was a typical Mo Salah goal, like weak foot, shit. I mean, brilliant goal, and that was a typical Mo Salah goal. And I think he's the only Premier League player, the first player in Premier League history to score 10 opening day goals. Incredible, absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm gonna close the video because time is running out.